Gundam.tk presents High Grade Gundam Age-3 Normal. Hey, what's up again everybody? It's Robert 184, 2Rs2Bs, GundamReviews.net, and as you see the Age 1 and Age 2 spinning around there, the plates are empty, and that means the successor suit, the 3rd generation Kyo's Age-3 Normal, is all put together. So let's take a look because some of the parts are quite interesting. From the standard legs, waist, and chest section, except you're going to have that part there, which is going to be a key part in the transformation. The Sigmasis rifle is looking huge there, and the beam sabers can go in two ways to go along with that cap, an extra manipulator, the core fighter, which also serves as the boosters, and the front of the G-Scepter, not to mention the action base that it's going to stand up on, whether it's transformed or in MS mode. Starting at the bottom, the legs look a little bit plain, although they are functional here. You'll notice that this part here for the polycap is offset, and you can rotate this part around. You can also bend this here at 90 degrees, a little bit over 90 degrees, and if you sort of bring that back, you can bring it down. So you're getting, let's say, 155 or whatever there. Anyway, it's looking pretty good. Remember, it's going to look pretty funny when it transforms, and it can't do the old S thing as we've seen with the wing kits. This knee armor here is going to go cover this gray part up, but it's not going to come down very much. That's the most that it can protrude forward. Down here, nothing exciting, just large white parts when you put them together. You do have this part which is going to move ever so slightly, but not really enough to come into play, or so it would seem. But these yellow parts are certainly not a distraction. They look good on the side. And on the inside, you can see that there's a polycap with a big gray part there, which is going to allow this to move. And the foot itself is going to be able to bend at an awkward 90 for the transformation. The waist section looks pretty substantial, similar to the Age 2. You're not going to have independent moving skirts up there. You could just cut those off, I suppose. You've got a big red piece of plastic there, no seals, and for the insides, you're going to be able to move this off to the side, as well as forward and back, 00 style. Make sure you put it in the right way. The side skirts are very, very simple, hollow on the inside, just a little bit of lining there, and on the back, you're going to have some thrusters here, which also do not move independently, and you can take the Sigmasis rifle. It is going to have that big handle sticking out there, but you can plug it into the back. Although I don't know how awkward this looks like. It's going to be pretty awkward once it's in MS mode. Now the double Zeta's arms are pretty fun to put together here. First of all, you're going to have two blue parts that you put together, a little bit of lining there, and then these triangle blue parts that you put on with the yellow parts, which are going to look good. It's going to do a very good job of hiding all the cut marks too. You do have these little gray stickers here that you could put on, or just line those and paint them up if you want. But up here you're going to be able to move this flap up and down about 90 degrees, and this one is going to move with that white part, but it's only going to move about 45. So you're not going to be able to bring these together. The shoulders parts, you can see that this is going to rotate around inside. You can spin the shoulder around. You've got the elbow, which is going to bend there and there, so you're going to get that all the way up 180, I'd say. You'll notice that these beam saber parts are going to rotate around, and then you've got the wrists, which expose a little bit of white down there on the cuffs to go along with the blue here, very similar to the Age 2 Normal. But for this part, you're going to be able to rotate this around, and it's a little bit tricky to pop these beam sabers out, so a modeler's knife, or at least pushing down on one side, is certainly going to be useful. And though this arm guard looks like it's going to make it very awkward to keep the beam sabers in hand normally, not all that bad. But remember that also unicorn style, you can take this other one and you can plug it into the forearm so that you can do the old single claw Wolverine. The main part of the chest is just going to have the three colors here and a big hollow hole there, and then it's going to have some gray on the back that you're not going to see, except when you attach the core fighter to it, I suppose. You've got a polycap down there, a PC9, which is going to allow that to rotate ever so slightly, but you'll notice that it's a little bit hollow there, which is going to look a little bit strange until you put the upper part in. The shoulders are going to move a little bit forward and back as well as up and down. But it's this part of the chest that's actually a lot of fun to put together. You've got some cool little details there, gray lining opportunities, the polycap and a big yellow part there for the neck, but putting this white and blue part on top of the seal part there is looking good, and this is going to bend down and this is going to be used for the action base, but you can also hide the head of the Gundam when you actually put it into the core fighter. To dock it with the chest though, you're just going to drop it in, and when you do that you'll notice that those parts there fill in with a little bit of gray, although it does look a little bit awkward. But overall, that blue on top of the white part there I think is a real winner there for the chest. The Sigmasis rifle looks like an absolute beast here for a high grade 1/144th, starting with the fact that it's got a big empty hole down there which is going to look great for the barrel, and you've got a green seal in here, so it's going to hang in the hand like this. So you've got that up on the top and I think it's looking pretty cool. Lots of black lining opportunities there. You could paint this up metallic colors, gunmetal, make it look great. And for this is going to plug into the hand, but you can also bend that in and then pop this upwards and it'll lock into place. But no, there is nothing to attach it into the lower arm, unlike the GB. Here's the front of the G-Scepter, which is supposed to be out of this. Ultimately, this is going to turn into this, but they're just going to give you an extra one here. You've got a white part on the top, a big white part there for the waist section, and you're going to be getting a clear green part there. I didn't put any seals or anything underneath that, but you're going to see where the things are going to attach on once you get it into its awkward mode. But finally, I think it's this core fighter that's actually a lot of fun to put together. It does have some seals on it here, white seals, and I sort of went an extra step here. I just had some leftover silver seals. So I just put some silver underneath this green because the green on top of the blue, it didn't really stand out. But with that little bit of reflective surface underneath, it's certainly going to come to light. In terms of moving parts, you're just going to have these, which are going to depend whether he's flying off or whether it's attached onto the back. And you're going to have these thrusters here, which are going to rotate independently. You do have black seals inside these yellow parts. Of course, you could paint those up before putting them on. And another black part there, and they're just going to rotate off to the side ever so slightly. But of more importance, for the transformation, you're going to be able to open up this bottom part and take this chest piece, bend this down. Of course, the head would be on normally. And once that blue part is up, all you have to do is line it up, put it in, and you're actually going to be hiding the head of a Gundam as he goes whooshing down and civilians aren't looking up and saying, hey, isn't that just a Gundam facing downwards? The action base is going to have a storage spot there for the extra manipulator there with the dynamic left hand, and you can have this little cap here. You can just put this on when it's not in use, but it is going to be different from what we normally see with action bases because it's going to have an attachment point for the G-Scepter and for the core fighter. First of all, this arm in the middle, it's going to have 3 little pegs there, so you can adjust it at 3 angles, but it's not going to have all that much range. And this top part is going to have 3 different positions you can set it in. But how about the head of the Age-3 Gundam, which is doing a remarkable job of doing it almost all in plastic outside of those 2 obvious seals there for the camera lens. And the eyes, just 2 large white parts are going to go together there, but more impressive is that V-fin concoction where it's going to have a big yellow part underneath, a smaller blue part there that's actually going to be cut. You can see it when you get really close with the macro there, that it looks like it's going to be separating, but from even just a regular distance you're not going to notice anything bad. And that small red part, be careful when you're cutting it out because it's very easy to drop on the ground. But the fact that you're getting the red eyes, the red jewel, and the red part down there, and it's very similar to Double Zeta, lighting opportunities and a great V-fin, this is a fantastic head here for 1/144th scale, I'd say. So that's going to wrap up my look at the parts, and I gotta say that I'm pretty much impressed with everything here. It was a great original build, very different from the H1, H2, no repetition whatsoever. Core fighter looking interesting, the arms looking interesting, the legs, well, they're just a little bit so-so, but the little bonuses like this in the action base, and the solid rifle here, not to mention the playability of the beam sabers, everything about it is looking cool, but it matters not, unless the mobile suit, and the transformation, I suppose, is going to be fun, so stick around for the next part where you can see the H3 all put together. Why don't you let me know what you think of the parts with a comment down below, and we'll see you next time. Bye.